Thank you guys for attending. If you have a Bible, thank you, America. We're still free to do that. To have a Bible. Open it to the book of Psalms and find number 3. Psalms chapter 3. We'll be starting, of course, with the first verse, Psalm chapter 3. But while you're turning there, while you're thinking about this, and while I have your undivided attention, I want to bring up some things for you to think about. I really want to encourage every soul that's under this roof today. We're living in an age of discouragement. We're living in a time of upheaval and division and anger. Like, I don't know if history's ever had an equal, but we're living through it, and the church has to maintain through this time. And my message today, I want to title it Perseverance, or Persevere. I kind of looked that up in a dictionary. Persevere, to continue the course of action, don't quit, and to do so in spite of fill in the blank. In spite of whatever, stay the course. Commit yourself and stick to it. Many times you've heard, get to the end of your rope, tie a knot, and hang on. Hang in there and be faithful, church, through trying times. Represent Christ even when you're not feeling it. And while you're thinking about that, let me throw some things at you. 3 bodies of water that happen to be in the nation of Israel right now. You are one of them. You are one of these 3. And I'm one of these 3. What do you think about this? Don't raise your hand or say anything, but think about, which one are you this morning? The first one I'd like to talk about, if you were looking at a map, is the Sea of Galilee. Right? Sea of Galilee is a big old lake, and it's very healthy. As a matter of fact, I understand today, it is filling up and its levels are really fine. They haven't been that fine in years and years. So the Sea of Galilee is prosperous, it is blessed. Springs from the mountains and the hills run into it daily. It is always being fed. There is a healthy supply of fish in there. There's people who make a living fishing. Plus, right today, there's a tourism, and people make money doing that. And it's a beautiful place to come with a family and stay by the beach. So the Sea of Galilee is doing good. It's great. It's blessed. It's wonderful. Think about it. Are you that? Is that you? There's a second body of water I'd like to bring up. It comes, actually, from the Sea of Galilee. It's called the River Jordan. It emanates from the bottom of the Sea of Galilee, and it goes the whole way south, almost due south. Now, the River Jordan is different. It's moving constantly. It starts at point A, and it's heading for point B. And as it moves, it takes away whatever's loose. Right? Sometimes the River Jordan is pretty muddy, because it is active. It is moving. And as it's moving down and taking stuff away, it's also leaving deposits. So it's both give and take. And the trees that grow along the River Jordan, they're doing great. They're prospering because they're daily getting fed. And farmers along the way, they'll divert that river and they'll feed their crops and they'll have fields all along there. So it's life-giving, plus it takes away refuse as it moves. It is moving. And to this day, they still have baptisms in that River Jordan. So I think that's pretty cool. So what do you think? Is that you? Are you giving and taking away? Are you life-giving? Are you on the move? Are you starting in point A and heading to point B? Yeah, maybe that's you. And there's my final body of water, and you're not going to like this one. Yeah. The Dead Sea. The Dead Sea is not the best thing in the world. I mean, hey, I guess they build resorts down there, and you can go and float because you can't sink. It's so full of saline and salt. But here's the thing with the Dead Sea. Constantly, day and night, the River Jordan is flowing into it. Life from up above is coming to it daily, all the time, constantly. But life cannot be sustained in the Dead Sea because of the, I don't know if it's acidity or the alkaline, or if you're a chemist, you can help me out here. It's so full of the salt that everything life-giving that pours into it dies almost immediately. The Dead Sea has no outlet, only an inlet. Things coming in all the time. It's always hearing the good news. It's always hearing the gospel. It's always hearing all these things, but nothing ever happens. It has no output whatsoever. And everything that comes into it eventually dies. Now you could argue with me here a little bit and say, well, there's salt. After the Dead Sea kind of dries up, it leaves a salt residue, and you can harvest that salt, and there's an industry. And we know from the Bible, salt is good, right? So why are you being so negative about the Dead Sea? Well, here's the thing. The Dead Sea has to die and evaporate before it leaves any good. So, is that you? Is that the life you're living today? You know, I think if all of us were honest, we'd say we've all been one of those three at one point in our lives or the other. But, you know, hey, are we a big blessing? Are we on the move in life-giving? Or are we constantly inputting but giving nothing out? Is everything that enters into us turned to death and not sustain life? Think about it. Where are you at today in that? Interesting, huh? I'm challenging myself with this too. I'm not trying to pick on you. Now, if I would do a survey right now before I start reading the scripture, don't do this, but pretend I'm going to ask you to raise your hand. Don't raise your hand, because I don't want to embarrass anybody. But if you were going to raise your hand, which one of these would be you? Another three things here for you to think about. If I said, raise your hands if you were blessed this morning. Don't do it. Think about what I'm going to say. You are either one of three people this morning as you sit here. And as I stand here, I'm one of these three people. You are either, yes, Tom, I am blessed. Your hand goes right up, unashamedly, full confidence. Man, is God in my life. Man, is God speaking to me? Man, is God blessing me? Man, is God answering my prayer? I'm in love with Him more today than I was yesterday. That hand goes right up. Is that you this morning? Second person. Well, gee, if I don't raise my hand, they're going to think I'm not blessed. So I'm going to raise my hand just to get the attention off me, to blend in. But if I was to be honest, I'm really not blessed. I'm really not all that blessed. I'm kind of feeling confused, but I'm not going to show anybody. Whoa, I want to put on a good appearance here. So I'm going to raise my hand too. That's choice number 2. Been there, done that. I don't want to admit I'm not blessed, so I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand. That's number 2. Here's number 3. Number 3, no way, man. I am not blessed. First of all, I don't get God. I don't know what He's doing. You preacher, I don't know what you're even talking about. You people around me, I don't even know how you can call yourselves Christians. The world is full of chaos. The world is full of doom and gloom and riots. How can you sit there and say that God is good or the Word of God is true when we're in the midst of this? No way, I ain't raising my hand. You know what? I want to talk to that person. That is the kind of people I love sitting down, because they're not fakes. They're not phonies. They're not putting on an act. They're being totally honest. And I love that. We should be ready for honest people. My favorite people to talk to are what's called agnostics. Because an agnostic is so honest. First of all, they've taken the time to figure out I'm not an atheist, because they have a dictionary and they've taken the time to look it up. So if you call yourself an agnostic, you are so honest. An agnostic basically just roughly means, I don't know. I just don't get it. You know? And a lot of people are in that place. Even a lot of Christians are in that place. We're like, yeah, I believe in God, but I just don't know. Boy, is that honest. I love it. And that's the kind of people I love to sit down and talk with. Not posers, you know, but for real people who just don't get it. Because guys, look at me, I've been there. I've been that guy. I've been the one sitting in the pews thinking, I better raise my hand or they're going to think I'm not blessed. I've been a faker. I've done it. From time to time, I'm the Dead Sea. And from time to time, I'm Jordan. From time to time, very rare, I'm the Sea of Galilee. But I go through stuff. And I think America, especially the church, especially the people in this room, have to deal with the harshness of this life. And I want to be open and honest with you today. I don't condemn one person in this room. I'm not going to stand up here and say, come on, get over it, what's the matter with you? No, not this guy. Maybe it's some other pulpit somewhere else, but not this guy, not this morning. I want to read for you now Psalm 3. I'm going to first read it in the New Living Translation, which is a very conversational translation, one I like a lot. Then I'm going to reiterate it to you in the King James, which I love the King James. It is majestic and wonderful. And I just don't happen to speak 1611 English. But I do love my King James, and I always refer to it constantly. So let me read it. Psalm 3 here, starting with verse 1. In the New Living Translation. You could say this is America today if you want. Oh Lord, I have so many enemies. So many are against me. So many are saying, God will never rescue him. And some of your Bibles will say Selah after that. It means stop and think. I'm overwhelmed. I'm outnumbered. I'm discouraged, man. And I got people all around me cutting me down. Right? And then the next part says, but you, O Lord, are a shield around me. You are my glory, the one who holds my head high. I cried out to the Lord. He answered me from his holy mountain. I lay down and I slept, yet I awake up in safety, for the Lord was watching over me. I almost slipped into a King James mode. Sorry about that. See? I am not afraid of 10,000 enemies who surround me on every side. Arise, O Lord. Rescue me, my God. Slap all my enemies in the face. Oh, I love this verse, don't you? Now, this is Old Testament. You shouldn't be slapping people in the face in the New Testament. But boy, is it fun to read this anyway. I think so. Lord, slap them in the face. Shatter the teeth of the wicked. Oh, that's delicious, isn't it? Shatter the teeth of the wicked. Victory comes from you, O Lord. May you bless your people. I love this. This is amazing. Now, the King James, back it up here. I'll just read like the first part of it from memory from the King James. Now, check me out on this if you're holding one in your hand. Thou, O Lord, are a shield around me. You're my glory and the lifter of my head. Right? Isn't that very cool? Thou, O Lord. I just love the way that's worded. That Old English just like really burns in my heart. And while you're thinking about these, I have so many little parables to give you guys today. But those of you who know me know I've heard this story before. But every morning of my life, especially since my brain surgery, I don't know if I look like a candidate for brain surgery to any of you, but I, yes, 6 months ago almost to the day, had brain surgery. Yeah, does that explain the way I act? And since then, since I came home from the hospital recovering from a successful surgery, I have no more tumors, they were benign, I'm good to go, God is good, surgeons are good, nurses are good, it's all good. I'm healing still to this day. But God has really blessed me. He's turned me into the Sea of Galilee in a lot of ways because of his great blessings to me. But anyway, every morning of my life, I get up early and I go downstairs into my corner and I open up my Bible and I pray to the Lord and I seek the Lord and I ask him for every Sunday, Lord, what should I say? I say, Lord, with all my heart, I don't want to go up there and tell everybody my opinion and my feelings and my thoughts. I want, to the best of my ability, I'm not perfect, but I want to, in the best of my ability, I want to tell people your heart. I want people to see you. I want people to hear from you. That is my prayer every day of my life. If I'm going to stand here and do this, I don't want to win any popularity polls or tickle your ears or just tell you what you want to hear. take a nice offering, go buy myself a nice fishing boat, and see you later. See you next Sunday. That's not me. So here's something I want you to think about. Pretend, right? I don't want to talk about the rapture today. That's an R word. Some people are really upset about that word. We can debate that some other time. Meet me in a parking lot after school. We can hash that out later. But pretend that the tribulation is here. The Antichrist is in full bloom, and he's killing people, and he's knocking people down, he's cutting off people's heads, and it's bad, and you're still alive, and you're still a human being on planet Earth, right? And you come to the realization, oh, what did I do? What didn't I do? Everything the Bible said is happening right now. I'm scared to death. Jesus, please help me. Jesus, have mercy on me. And somehow, all 7 years of that terrible time that we call the tribulation, you survive. And at the end of that 7 years, the eastern sky busts open wide. Jesus comes back in full glory, not riding a donkey, riding a horse. He comes into town. He sets up shop in Jerusalem. He's sitting on a throne, heir of the throne of David, Lion of the tribe of Judah. He who was, who is, and is yet to come, he is now terra firma on planet Earth. And he calls you to the foot of his throne. Imagine this, right? So there you are, defeated, discouraged, thinking, oh no, if I'd only got my life together sooner, if I'd only been more faithful, what's going to happen here? But in the midst of that tribulation, you cried out to him for 7 years, right? So just pretend. I don't want to get into a big eschatological argument here, but just pretend that's you, and you're right there, and he's on the throne, and you're kneeling down with your head down, saying, oh Lord, I know you're God, I know you're the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. I get it. Finally, I get it. So now here I am at your mercy, Lord. So there you are, broken at the foot of that cross. And he reaches down and he tenderly grabs your chin and he lifts your head. He lifts your head and you're looking eye to eye with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. And he's smiling at you. He's your glory and the lifter of your head. Now, does that scripture hit home? Who is going to lift your head more than Jesus? He looks you in the eye, and right away you know how righteous he is. And right away you know what a rat you've been. And what a lazy, good-for-nothing Dead Sea you were sometimes. And you look at him, and you burst out into tears immediately. Without holding back, you fall apart. Stem to stern, you are a blubbering, slobbering, crying mess. And there's Jesus holding your head. And he grabs you to himself. And right in front of the whole world, he's hugging you. Comforting you. Right? And after you've had a good cry for Lord knows how long. And after you've repented and said you were sorry for every last single thing you ever did, thought, or were, or haven't been. And he straightens you out, grabs you by the shoulders. He takes his hands and he very lovingly and very gently wipes the tear out of that eye. Then he goes like this and wipes the tear out of the other eye. And ladies and gentlemen, those are the last tears you will ever cry for the rest of eternity. Can you picture that day? Can you picture that moment? Can you picture it? Okay, that person, that unlucky person, found themselves in the midst of a tribulation. Yeah, they knew it was late in the game, but they made a decision to stick it out. They weren't going to take no mark of the beast, and they weren't going to jump. So they hid out, and they lived on the fringe, but they survived! That person persevered. That person made up their mind and stuck it out. Now that's not going to be every situation, but that could be a situation, right? I just wanted to really drive that home, that this person does have any feelings like they're a great success, or that they've been a great Christian. They are totally 100% relying on the mercy of God, and that's where they live. right? So you think about that as I turn to the New Testament. I'm going to turn to Matthew chapter 5, verse 1. When you're turning there, I want to tell you something. The psalmist said, "Thou, O Lord, are a shield about me, my glory, the lifter of my head." Isn't that now a beautiful picture to you? Isn't that now realer than it's ever been? I learned this in my basement Monday morning, and I couldn't believe it. I had tears in my eyes thinking about this. So this is God's heart to you. So, Jesus, in his humanity, he's sitting around a bunch of people who just don't understand him at all. They love him and they respect him, but they don't get it. They will. He will give them understanding. But as they're hearing him, they're just like in awe and wonder. Consider yourself on that day, sitting on that hillside, that beautiful hillside where Jesus says this. Now I'm back to reading in the New Living Translation, but we can go back and forth between that and King James. Matthew 5, verse 1 says, "One day, as he saw the crowds gathering, Jesus went up on the mountainside and sat down. His disciples gathered around him, and he began to teach them." First thing he says in the New Living Translation is, "Blessed," or God blesses those who are poor and realize their need for him. Wait a minute. If you have what we call common sense, a person who's struggling, a person who's not doing well, a person who's confused or angry, upset, common sense, the human reasoning says, that person ain't blessed. Are you kidding me, Jesus? What are you talking about? Now, could you ever, with an open mind, ever read the scriptures from that point of view? No, you've heard, "Blessed are those who do this." You've heard it a million times. It's just all those things. Yeah, that's God. Yeah, that's Jesus. Have you ever taken it to heart? How crazy that was the first time he spoke those words. Blessed are those who are poor in spirit, right? Blessed. To be happy, to be envied. Or the poor or the broken. But however you want to word it. Think about that with that scenario of kneeling at the foot of Jesus. That person who had just been through a terrible tribulation. Blessed are you this day. Not feeling it. Am I? Not experiencing it. My brain's going haywire. My soul's in turmoil. I love you, Lord. I don't understand you at all. But Jesus this day is saying, you are blessed. Ultimately, you are blessed. For the kingdom of heaven is theirs. Verse 4 says, God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Will be, that is a future. So, people who mourn are blessed. Now, if you were deep into mourning, you ain't feeling blessed. You're not feeling happy. You're not feeling godly. You're feeling kind of like that Dead Sea we talked about earlier. You're feeling kind of like that person out there in the church. I ain't blessed. I'm not raising my hand. No way. You're feeling that, but Jesus is giving you a future tense. You will be comforted. That is a promise from the lips of Jesus to you, especially to you who are mourning. Is your heart broke? Your spirit shattered in any way? Put your trust in Jesus. Take your tent and pitch it towards Jesus. Invest towards Jesus. Persevere. Hang in there. Believe Him. And no matter how you feel, no matter how things look around you, all the craziness and the stuff you hear in the news and what the neighbors say, and the riots and the looting and the pillaging and the guilt trips, but in spite of all that, you look to Jesus, and He will comfort you. One day, If you hang in there, he'll reach down there and he'll pick that chin up so gently and look you in the eye. He is the lifter of your head. And all the tears you're going to cry on that day, he will wipe them away. That's the promise. For all you Christians, for all you believers. Now, people who don't believe, their future isn't too bright. They try to do the best they can with their best head knowledge, with their thoughts, their ideologies, their political affiliations, or whatever, philosophies, and they're trying to solve all the world's problems that way. Only one solution to this world. It's not an elephant or a donkey. It is Jesus, the risen King. He's saying, hang on guys, I'm coming. He's saying, persevere. I got you. I got your back. I'm coming for you. And one day, we're going to meet eye to eye. And I will comfort you. Isn't that awesome? And then he goes on. Blessed are the meek. I think that's what the verse 5 says in the King James. But this says, blessed are the humble. You ever heard that song, Oh Lord, it's hard to be humble? When you're perfect in every way. Heard that song before? I can sing it for you. No, I don't want to clear a room, so I won't sing it for you. What is humility? You know, one of the key things about humility or meekness is, yeah, I could take a baseball bat to you right now and leave you in a bloody mess. I could. Or I could go out in the truck and get my shotgun and I could take care of business. Yeah, I could. Or I could take this brick in my hand or just womp you one with my fist. I could. Because you make me mad and you upset me to no end. I could. Right? Jails are full of people who, no, they could, they did. But the humble person says, not going to do it. I serve a higher purpose. I serve a higher calling. I serve a risen Savior. And when all the injustice, and unruly people converged on him, he never even defended himself. Couldn't he have called 10,000 angels to rescue him at that moment? Couldn't Jesus sincerely could have went, ping, and they all would have just fell down forever? I mean, in the garden, he gave us a little taste of that. When he said, I am, and they all fell backwards. He had the goods. He could have done it. But what is humility? It's taking a step back. It's being meek. It's a choice to be humble. When you get people shouting all around you, when you get people shouting down all around you, many are the people who rise up against me. Many are them that say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Remember? That's today. You Christian, what do you know? But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and lifter of my head. Remember that? So blessed are the meek, the humble. That's a choice. Yeah, you can fight back. Yeah, you can hang in there with the best of them with your fist, whatever, or kick him in the shin, whatever you could, but you don't, because you are going to acquiesce, give in to a higher law, to a higher purpose. You're going to say, Lord, I'm going to hang in there with you. I'm going to operate with you. I'm going to do what you would have done. I'm going to follow your instructions. When God sees that kind of faithfulness, when God sees that kind of humility, he honors it. On that day, when you're before him, do you want honor or shame? Honor the Lord. You meek ones, you humble ones. What's it say? What's the promise? They will inherit the earth. The meek shall inherit the earth. When all these people have run their course and said their things and done their news broadcasts and ranted and raved and did all their violence and their stupidity, when they've done all that, they're gone. And you're still there because you're humble. You will inherit the earth. That's a promise written in red in my Bible. That means Jesus said it. Does that give you any kind of comfort? Tom, you don't know what it's like to stand alone. Man, you don't know what it's like to hear all this blah, blah, blah all around me, how it vexes my soul, how it tears me apart inside, how it discourages me. I can't even sleep at night thinking about all this craziness going on around me. Tom, you don't understand. You know what? I know someone who does. I know someone who's been through worse. And he could have taken care of business with a snap of his finger, but he submitted. And he rose again on the third day. And now he holds the keys to death, hell, and the grave. You want life? You go to him. He's got your back. He'll take care of you. When you think about that, and when you think about him kneeling down and lifting up your chin on that day, those guys can blah, blah, blah. They want, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people who beset themselves against me round about. That's Psalm 3. Go back and read it for yourself. Because thou, O Lord, are a shield for me. You're my glory and the lifter of my head. That's a promise. That's for you. You're living that today. You will live it tomorrow. And on that day, when you look eye to eye with him, on your day, on the time of that, whenever it happens to you, you are going to be so blessed. You, on that day, will inherit the earth. You'll be comforted. Guys, it's coming. Let me just read a little bit more. Verse 6. For God blesses those who hunger. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness. They shall be filled, or they shall be satisfied. God blesses those who are merciful, for they will be shown mercy. God blesses those whose hearts are pure, for they shall see God. God blesses those who work for peace, not revenge. Not revenge. Work for peace. God blesses peacemakers. They shall be called the children of God. God blesses those who are persecuted for doing right. Persecuted. Guys, that's one of the things, one of the promises of the church that nobody wants to claim. You know, people always go through the Bible and claim the promises of God. They may have to claiming persecution. It's a promise. It'll happen. You don't need to claim that. It'll happen. You will be persecuted. You will be tried. You will be tested. You will be hated because you follow Jesus. You'll go through stuff. You may be going through it now. Who's got you? Who's got your back? Who's the glory and the lifter of your head? In spite of. This is our message. I'm going to close. I'm going to ask Mackenzie to come up. We're going to take communion here pretty soon. Jesus wrote in the book of Revelation to 7 churches. In chapter 2 and chapter 3, if you want to read it for yourself. And in just about every one of those churches, he makes a comment about those who are victorious, those who express patient endurance, those who overcome, those who endure, those who persevere. He's always saying that to the church. He's encouraging you guys. Don't give up, no matter what. This is the time we live in, guys. We are being tested and tried. We are being singled out and ridiculed. Will it come to violence? I pray not. Violence against you or your home or your loved ones? I pray not. But blessed are you because of who sits on that throne. He is your glory. He is your lifter of your head. He is your shield. And he tells those 7 churches, basically in a nutshell, you go ahead and read it yourself. He's saying, you hang in there, and we're going to enjoy eternity together. But there comes a time for all of us, and we just got to dig in and hang in there. Even when you're not feeling it, even when you're the one, I'm not going to put my hand up. Even though you made that one, I feel like the Dead Sea today. You know what? Feelings come and go. Circumstances come and go. Political things rise and fall. Yeah, we got trouble coming. Yeah, there's stuff. But I'll tell you one constant. I'll tell you one absolute. I'll tell you one hero you can count on every time from now until forever. His name is Jesus. If you are a Christian, he is yours and you are his. So be encouraged by that. Be comforted by that. That is God's heart to you this morning. Don't be discouraged. Don't be heartbroken. Trust in Him. Got that?